NBA Finals. We're going to talk with the only guy from St. Louis to play for the Pacers and the greatest center ever produced in our area. The great Steve Stepanovich is going to talk to us at 10:50, and I believe he is headed to Indiana for Game 6. Jill, good to be with you. How are you today?
Doing well. How are you doing?
Everything's good. Happy Juneteenth to everyone out there. The great Evander Holyfield, the former heavyweight champion of the world, is in St. Louis. He's going to be at a rec center for the special day giving a talk. So a lot of great things going on in St. Louis with Juneteenth.
And you are Thursdays. We always like Thursday Frank because, well, today it's a perfectly sunny day, so for sure you'll get out and hit some golf balls. I hope.
Not me.
But also, this is the day that you don't have to do the late show on the news. So it always feels like you always seem to feel like you're getting away with something on a Thursday.
There is a good feeling, and Monique feels the exact same way. She goes, "Well, you're just in a better mood today." Yes, no doubt about it. Your husband and I have talked. We're thinking about opening up a restaurant. He'll be the cook because nobody makes a better smoked turkey than John. And Connor would attest. Connor, thoughts?
Thought it was great. I even went back last night, and it was still really, really good. You know, sometimes it gets kind of loses a little flavor, it dries out. No, it was still amazing. It was really great.
What's the secret sauce? Can you tell us something?
He uses a particular kind of rub that he has down pat, and I can't even tell you exactly what it is. And from my observation on the outside, it's about a 97-step process. So it involves wrapping the meat during a later part of the process, but making sure it gets just the right amount of smoke earlier on in the process. And it's
how long does it take, all things considered, like start to finish? Turkeys
are almost an all-day thing. It's a slow smoke process to keep them from drying out.
So we should talk about opening up something because you know how to make a small fortune in the restaurant business. You start with a large fortune.
Exactly. Yeah. Listen, we just got rid of the boats in the lake. That's exactly what we need to do, is to start over with something else.
Everybody thinks they can do that too. So I think I've told you about this TV show, and I'm not sure if either of you have watched, but The Bad Sister?
But it isn't Bad Sisters. It's something else. We keep looking up the name of it. It's Jessica Biel, one you're talking about with Elizabeth Banks.
What's it called?
And it's like all these shows. I can never remember the exact name.
That's The Better Sister.
The Better
Sister. Good. Okay, so I'm watching an episode last night, and I even texted my favorite person at Channel 5, this producer, Susie Herman, and also Mike Bush about this. So have you ever watched a movie or a show where for no apparent reason they have this scene? So Jessica Biel has this sinewy physique, and for some strange reason, they just put her in the bedroom in undergarments and high heels, but it wasn't before she was going to be in a romantic scene. They just showed a picture of her in there for like 30 seconds. And after it's over, I look at Monique, what was the point of that? She goes, that's exactly what I thought. Have you ever watched something? I wonder if her agent said, okay, we're going to do this series, but we're going to have one shot of her almost naked, and it doesn't have to like correspond with anything that's going on in the show.
Yeah, you seem pretty upset about it. It was pretty gratuitous and made you pretty unhappy.
Did I sound like I was complaining? That's what Bush said too. So I do recommend it, though. It is good.
Is it really scary or a little bit violent?
Not scary, but dramatic.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So like suspenseful, scary, not
going
to make you.
You don't know who did it.
So it's not going to make you scared to be home alone, kind of scary. Okay, that's always I don't mind suspense, but I don't want it to be the kind of thing where I don't want to be alone in my house. You really would
get like nervous and tense if you're watching something scary if you're alone.
I'm not a horror movie person at all. No, I do not.
Give me one example of something that, I know this is off the top of your head, but that, oh my God, I'm not going to watch this. Or you felt that way watching it.
Oh, I never have gotten through movies like Amityville Horror or anything like that are the classic kind of, any of the Halloween movies.
Exorcist?
No, none of that stuff.
Oh man, I love that stuff.
I know. And I think you either do or you don't, but I definitely am a wimp. I mean, remember, Wendy used to make fun of me because I couldn't watch Fantasy Island because it was a little too scary for me.
The TV show?
Yes, exactly.
Would the little guy bother you?
No. He was a good part. It was those kind of scary in the jungle scenes, and I'm babysitting by myself out, on somebody's farm.
Did you think Ricardo Montalban was kind of cool?
No, because I was like 12.
Okay. I thought the women really liked him, yeah.
Maybe the
Well, when I
women,
was
the
12,
women
I
did,
liked-
but the preteens did not.
Okay, I got you. All right. It's called The
The Better,
Better Sister.
Yeah,
Yes,
the
that
Better
is-
Sister.
Yes.
not to be confused with Bad Sisters, which is also a good show. But why
Is
do
it?
they have all these shows with such similar names?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love the Kristen Bell's the Kristen Bell series, and they're doing a second season of it. And I still to this day I can't tell you what the darn name of it was. The one on Netflix. It's so good, but it's just a name that doesn't stick in your brain every single time. I have to Google it, and it's like, that really really good show with Kristen Bell that was my favorite one last year. And people say, what was it called on Netflix? And I'm like, just a second, let me Google it really fast. And it's Adam Brody. I can remember that, and then I just can never come up with the name of it because it's called Nobody Wants This.
Okay.
It doesn't roll off the tongue, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Ted Lasso. I can remember. Are you any further into the Owen Wilson?
I really have not. I mean, maybe like 15 minutes, but it looks like it's really great.
So
I'm
you're
getting
kind of
text.
gearing up for it.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I
have
gotta
you
convince
watched it?
Monique.
Didn't get a chance to yet, but I've seen the trailers.
Are you?
Looks
Is it
interesting.
appealing to you?
It's appealing to me, but then the reviews I see say it's not exactly as
Oh, the reviews are not
good.
good?
They're not bad, but they're just not. No one's saying this is the best thing I've seen this year.
Okay.
So it's not on the top of my list for that reason.
All right, let's take our first break. We'll come back with the opening dialogue on the Frank and Jill Show. All right, we're probably going to get into the heavy topics with Greg Willard coming up in about 15, 20 minutes. So today, something a little bit different. I was talking to a friend last night. I always discuss things with about, hey, some topics, what's hot. And he and I both agreed that overrated, underrated things in life. So thought one for me is the overrated things in life. Big weddings. I'll be at another one on Saturday. A lot of money for one night. With many people you may see 2 times for the rest of your life. Don't get them completely. Taking video at a concert. Do you really go back and look at that blurry video and enjoy the 20 seconds of the music with the people yelling in the background? Overrated. Job security at a job you hate. Yeah, I could work here forever, but I dislike coming here every day. Overrated. Now, a couple of items that you may disagree with me on. Flow trips, and I think I've mentioned this, you really work hard in your life to have a roof and air conditioning and a great bed. Then you go voluntarily to a place with no air, sleeping on the ground, mosquitoes, perhaps warm beer, and you pay to do that. And finally, and this is the most controversial one, and I'm not 100% on board, but the beach, overrated. Sand everywhere, sunburn, all the setting up, taking down, salt water in your eyes and mouth. Now, I can see the beach being a positive, especially if it's Hilton Head and you get lost in a Grisham book. But in general, I think the beach is a little bit overrated. Overrated things in life. Okay, Jill.
Okay, so mine would be, I think it's going to be a little bit controversial as well, but it's concerts. I spending a ton of money taking hours to park to go in and be really far away and watch a lot of the performance of somebody up on a screen. Small venue concerts, if it's, I really enjoy those, but a big venue concert where there's thousands and thousands of people, it's not my thing at all.
Unless you're up close. Real close.
Yeah, which only has happened when Glenn Zimmerman gave me tickets going in once to see John Fogerty. We were in the 3rd row. It's once in my lifetime, and I was like, okay, well, that was cool, but I wouldn't have paid $1,000 for that privilege.
I saw Santana front row at Hollywood, and just seeing that magician, that guy at work, that was cool. But
yeah,
I can see that's a good thought.
How about you, Connor? What do you think is overrated?
I'm gonna have to agree with you, Jill, with the concerts. I'm with you. The big concerts, just not my thing. Other than that, you catching me off guard.
All right, think about it. I got another one coming up.
A couple people, I think, in my life would say camping is overrated. I like camping, but a lot of people think it's
camping.
much.
Well, Frank's notably not an outdoorsman.
No.
You're not going to like this at all, but for me, I think golf's a little overrated. I think it takes a really long time, a long chunk out of your day.
This is unbelievable.
I think watching golf, I'm with you.
And watching golf is definitely overrated.
Please.
Yeah, I mean it's fine, and I know a lot of people do love it, but for me, if I could take that same several hours and do anything else outside, I'd probably rather do the other things outside that involve just
4 or 5 hours with nature, playing a sport that's unconquerable with good friends, maybe a beer at the turn, trying to pursue the thing that is so tough to get to. How can life get better? But go ahead. What's your point?
Yeah, standing, watching, sitting, standing, watching on a course where somebody's spending a lot of time and money to make grass different lengths. Again, I know a lot of people, it's incredibly enjoyable, but I'd much rather take a walk in the woods.
Are you a member of the Communist Party?
I am not.
Okay.
Well, they do say it's a good walk spoiled, Frank. So.
That's right.
I know. I mean, you know what? Go out and play a par 3. I enjoyed that every once in a while. Do I swing the club as much as you do on 36 holes on a par 3 9-hole? Yes, I do. So they're kind of equivalent, really, if you think about it in those terms.
All right, your first thought?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I got so caught up in overrated stuff, I forgot mine. First thought today is I thought this was a little bit interesting. I don't know if you guys had heard this before, but Fair St. Louis, of course, taken many iterations through the years, and our friend Sarah Fensky reporting this morning that this year's version has something that has never had before, and that is a drone show. Celebrate St. Louis, of course, you have known it as Fair St. Louis. Prior to that, Veiled Prophet Organization announced yesterday that this year's 4th of July celebration at Gateway Arch National Park will feature not only fireworks, but also a drone show. But it's designed to promote the Superman movie, which is being released on July 11th. Kicks off at 9:20 p.m. on July 4th. It's going to be a 10-minute show involving 400 drones. It's supposed to be really, really cool. Some people are like, wait, why are we having a commercialization of patriotism and promotion here as part of this? Well, Superman director James Gunn is a St. Louis native, of course, SLU High grad of 1984. So I say let's just enjoy the moment. Sarah does too. If you'd rather keep your fireworks superhero free, Thursday's festivities are going to go straight from the music, which is headliner is Russell Dickerson, to the fireworks show. And then, of course, Gavin DeGraw is headlining the show down at the Arch on Friday.
So this is kind of like the VP fair we used to have. Huh?
Yeah, but it's really just about the music show and the fireworks show these days. That's what it's kind of been condensed down to.
Well, it seems like it's a little bit bigger. It seems like bigger than the last couple of years.
And have you guys ever gone down and watched it from Channel 5? Watched the show?
Oh, yeah. We've been on top. I mean, we go on top of the building sometimes, yeah.
So you're going to have to do that. This will be your last year for that, right? If you're going to take the grandkids or
You're
kids
right.
down.
Yeah, good thought.
You won't have that option anymore.
All right, thought two, underrated things in life. And if you have some, by the way, Royal Banks of Missouri text line 84126. And you can watch us 550 KTRS TV on YouTube. Okay, underrated things in life. A handwritten thank you letter or a handwritten note. That really means a lot, especially if it's heartfelt. Hot dogs at a baseball game, forget the diet for a couple of hours, really underrated. A perfect grilled cheese, buttered toast, maybe a little bacon. A turntable. I was listening last night while I was writing this at the station at about 9:30. The music just sounds better for some reason. I don't know. I just feel cool having a turntable. Getting lost in a series, really lost. A nap in the middle of a day. The greeting from your dog. That is so underrated. If I ever came home and Reggie, instead of greeting me like a hero, just nodded and said, "Sup," I'd be hurt. And then finally, a few more. Steakhouse. I think they're underrated, big time. You know, a distinguished waiter in a burgundy jacket, wedge salad with a big fat medium rare ribeye, baked potato smothered in butter and sour cream, huge glass of Camus. You know, I love my Italian brothers in the restaurant business, but not even a red sauce can beat a great steak. Underrated. Brendan Weesey, underrated. Our sports director at KTRS, I love that guy. Positive, passionate about sports, just a good man. Underrated things in life. Come on aboard.
Oh my gosh, I love this so much. I think a quiet morning where you have nothing else to do but sit outside and when the perfect air temperature and enjoying a hot beverage and just kind of sit with yourself and your thoughts. And
You prefer your husband is not around?
He doesn't mind a quiet, you know, he'll enjoy some time outside in the morning too. So we're going to miss that about the lake because that was one of my favorite parts is after we go out and ski and come back and have that. Mashed potatoes. I just think they're the world's
Anything
most
on
perfect
it?
food. I just want some butter and salt and pepper on mine.
Yeah, that's good.
I mean, my grandma's gravy was good too, but I really prefer just butter, salt, and pepper
Homemade.
on mine. Right now, they're in high season, and they are making me incredibly happy. I love Bing cherries. I love really good fresh strawberries when they're in season, and I love really good peaches when they're in season. And this is the time of year when I will eat those every single day because they're all so flipping good.
I like it. I like it. All right. What's next for you?
Second thought for me today is this is kind of bad news for all of us of a certain age or with family members of a certain age, and that is in the U.S., older adults are increasingly dying from unintentional falls. It's a new federal report published just this week. White people account for the vast majority of the deaths from falls, and they can't figure out exactly why. There seems to be a differentiation between race there, but they're looking at it for sure.
Is it up? Like the numbers?
Yes, the number's up. Part of the reason it may be up is because people are living longer. So when you live longer and you have maybe balance issues.
Okay.
Also, the interesting thing that they're trying to account for is the death rates varied widely from state to state. So back in 2023, Wisconsin had the highest death rates from falls, followed by Minnesota, Maine, Oklahoma, and Vermont. The lowest states included places like Alabama. They think that has to do with, of course, the winter weather. If you're in a state that has more likely to have slip and falls, then you're going to end up with more problems as you're older. But they said it was one of those things that they didn't realize was on as many death certificates as cause of death as it is. So there probably is going to be some form of a public health campaign to try to get people to understand that it's not just it's not just one of those things where it's like, kids, mom and dad, be careful at home. We don't want you to fall, but it actually is creating a lot more deaths than people had realized before.
Boy, I never thought of that. That's good. Okay, thought 3, stream of con, best investment in the world, not buying Apple stock, owning a pro sports team. Jerry Buss bought the Lakers for $67 million. Yesterday, his kid sold it for $10 billion. I don't know how you feel, but I don't want any congressman ever uttering the U.S. is turning into one of the worst countries on earth. Ilhan Omar said just that yesterday. We have issues, but the rest of the world wouldn't be trying to get here so often if that was true about being the worst country on earth. Can we be better? Absolutely. In fact, Connor brought this up earlier. I'm getting incredible reviews on the new Apple Plus show, Stick. Owen Wilson starring about a golfer trying to move up the ranks. Supposed to be a lot of fun. I want a full report. And since I'm about to end the present series, what out there is hot? Royal Banks of Missouri text line, 84126, that you love.
So things that I heard about a few years ago that I thought not for me, that has become something that's definitely for me, and that is grocery delivery. I thought, golly, what as my kids would say, bougie thing to do when I first heard about this. If you were, for people a few years ago, why would you pay extra to do something that all of us can do without much effort? Well, the first couple times I used grocery delivery because we were coming back from a trip or I was getting called out of town for family health reasons or whatever the reason was, I thought, this is a little better than I thought it was going to be. Talk about something that I thought was overrated that has ended up being extremely underrated for me. And that is the ability for I pay about $10 a month to order my groceries and wake up on a morning like today at 6:30 a.m. and they are outside on my front stoop. Would I pay a lot more for it now? Probably. Is it saving on our monthly grocery bill? By a lot. That's the biggest surprise.
Why is that?
Because I think I wouldn't have I thought I stuck to my list before, or that John stuck to the list, but apparently we did not, because our bill has gone way down, because I think we're doing a lot less of the, hey, that peanut butter looks really good. Oh, I should try this. I would make a meal out of this. And we're throwing away less food because I'm sticking to the list more and actually sticking with my meal plan. So I have to say, it's one of those things that I thought was for other people and that I would never be doing. But here I am saying that it's made a difference in my life. How about you guys? Anybody giving it a try? Royal Banks of Missouri text line 84126. Or if you're joining us on the Frank and Jill Show live right now on YouTube, 550 KTRS TV. You can comment on there as well, and we love hearing from you.
All right, Greg Willard is going to join us when we come back, and we're going to ask him most overrated thing in his life, most underrated thing in his life also. Give him a heads up on that. Royal Banks of Missouri, text line 84126. You can watch us on TV, 550 KTRS TV on YouTube.
Well, something that I would rate extremely high in my life is my relationship with my friends at Woods Basement Systems, and that's because in multiple homes that we have owned, we had issues in the basement because we have tended to buy homes that are a little bit older, that have a little more character. We like that, but that means often that we end up with homes where water gets in the basement. And believe me, I have friends that have built new homes that have found the frustrating situation a few years in where water has found its way into the basement. It's one of those things that happens in St. Louis more than any of us would like to have happen, but we have to be able to deal with it. And that's why we're really lucky to have a company in our region that knows so much about this business. They have been tackling all of the basement water problems in their customers' lives since way back in 1986. There's nothing that can surprise them, and there's virtually no problem that they can't solve. Another way to say that is they can pretty much solve all of your basement waterproof problems, and they work to do it in a way that will fit into your life. They have financing available. They want to make sure that they use the least intrusive way to deal with the problem in the best possible way of all. So reach out to them today, woodsbasementsystems.com or 618-708-4055. That's Woods Basement Systems.
All right, welcome back. Frank and Jill Show on the Big 550 KTRS. Steve Stepanovich coming up at about 10:50. Greg Willard in the house. Most overrated, most underrated things in your life?
Overrated, the absolute critical necessity of a college education as distinguished from an education.
Okay.
Most underrated.
I like that.
Most underrated, I think we hear the word a lot, but we don't reflect on it enough, and it is integrity. In my life, Frank and Jill, I have seen integrity with my former boss in the White House, Gerald Ford. I saw it in the legal practice where I would deal with lawyers who had integrity, and we would move literally billions with a B of dollars on our word. No confirmatory letter, no contract. On our word, we would move it. That is integrity writ large, and I think it is underrated in our society and our government to a huge extent. I hope that changes.
Let's stay with presidential politics. With Iran, explain this. They either are going to get rid of their plans of the nuclear bomb or they're going to get destroyed. What's the hesitation with them?
Well, I think it's probably several layers, several subsets of those two parameters, Frank, that are causing the difficulty. If they get rid of their nuclear program, what does that do to the internal political strength of the current theocracy over there? If the theocracy maintains it for geopolitical reasons, well, what does that do to them on the international stage? The tea leaves in the Ouija board are suggesting that where that leaves them is with a bunker buster bomb hitting them. I commented before I came into the studio, I commented to one of our colleagues here at KTRS, what I miss today is I miss the discussion from people like Henry Kissinger, Cyrus Vance, and others as to exactly what you're talking about and you're referencing, Frank, that the strategic geopolitical chess pieces, and in a way that's what they are. We're missing that discussion. I'll give you a perfect example of how we are missing it. There was a hearing yesterday in the United States Senate with the Secretary of Defense, Hegseth. If ever there was a moment in the lifetime of most of our listeners where the United States Senate would want to have a conversation with the Secretary of Defense over, among others, the very good points you just made, Frank. And what did we get? A political spectacle over the names of a bunch of Army bases. That, my friend, was a very, very sad day for the Senate, but for the American people at this very difficult time.
There's much is being reported about there's some factionalization happening on the right over this, most notably people like Steve Bannon and Tucker Carlson have come out in very loud opposition to further involvement in Iran. Other people within the Republican Party seem to be standing more closely with President Trump where he is, which is any kind of neutralization of this world threat is important to us. Does that split, if you will, in philosophies within the party to surprise you at all?
Doesn't surprise me at all. There have been splits. I mean, we can go back to pre-World War II days with Charles Lindbergh and the isolationists, and we can come up into the 60s in Vietnam with Senator Fulbright, Senator McGovern, and others. So the split doesn't surprise me. We've seen that. We've seen that movie before. I guess what disappoints me, doesn't surprise me, is the Tucker Carlson, Steve Bannon drama is sucking a lot of the air out of the public square, and I'm not being critical of folks who watch Mr. Carlson and Mr. Bannon or listen to their podcasts. They have every right to do that. But as I said a moment ago, I'm not particularly interested in the geopolitical assessments of Tucker Carlson. I would be very interested in the likes of Henry Kissinger or Cyrus Vance or others, and we sadly are getting none of that today, and that is a big loss for the American people.
In terms of the American people and how they feel about this, it seems like most people are in favor of, taking care of Iran in a real violent way if they continue with their game plan of the nuclear bomb. But let me just ask this: I think that a lot of people don't want us, after we do that, to go spend a lot of money and rebuild that city.
Yes, and there's a political irony here that we are hearing from the left side of the aisle that the President Trump, who campaigned both in 2016 and in this last election against nation building, is that he may be on the precipice of one of the greatest nation building exercises in the history of the United States. But there's another piece to it, Frank and Jill, and that is we don't have to go very deep into our memory banks. And there was another country and another leader thought to have nuclear weapons. And in 2004, we attacked and were bogged down in Iraq for about $1 trillion, and sadly, many, many lost young men and women. I pray God that we don't end up there with Iran, but make no mistake about it, that is a very, very high possibility.
Yeah, we have to pay attention to history before we make decisions as well. Supreme Court yesterday cleared the way for a state ban on transgender care for minors. Justices ruled the Tennessee can prohibit puberty blockers and hormones for adolescent gender transition. Of course, Greg Willard, KTRS legal analyst, you can help us understand why the Supreme Court saw this case in the first place.
Tennessee, like 26, 28 other states, as you said, Jill, has passed legislation that prohibits medical providers from prescribing these gender dysphoria treatments and medications. In Tennessee, the Tennessee legislature prohibited that. Now, well, let's just stop right there. Whether we think that's a good idea or not, that is why we have elections. There may be laws that our Missouri legislature or across the river the Illinois legislature passed that many of us don't agree with. Well, okay, that gets resolved at the ballot box. So there may be, the voters of California may have a different view of these treatments for adolescent gender dysphoria. Obviously, the people in the legislature in Tennessee, they had their views and passed this law. It was challenged. The law was challenged on constitutional grounds. The challenge was that this law, even though validly passed by the Tennessee legislature, violated the 14th Amendment to the Constitution, specifically the Equal Protection Clause. It was in the Federal District Court, the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals, and then it went up yesterday, as you say, Jill, to the Supreme Court. Mm-hmm. But that's a long-winded answer as to how we got to where we were at sunrise yesterday morning.
So what is the result of this? How did things change?
The result is that the justices, by a vote of 6-3, said that this statute does not violate the Equal Protection Clause. Let me give markers to our listeners that I think will be a good frame of reference. The state of Missouri, the state of Virginia had a law prohibiting black and white individuals from marrying. The United States Supreme Court says that violated the Equal Protection Clause. Loving versus Virginia, and there was the film Loving. in my lifetime, Frank and Jill, and in the lifetime of many of our listeners, there was a statute in Missouri that said black boys and girls cannot go to school with white boys and girls. And there were many states, not just here in Missouri, many states that had that. And the Supreme Court in the Brown versus Board of Education said that that structure and those laws violate the Equal Protection Clause. What the court yesterday said was a statute which bans these gender dysphoria treatments for teenagers, children, that ban is not like banning interracial marriage. It's not like banning segregated schools. And therefore, it does not violate the Equal Protection Clause. Let me just give a quick quote from Chief Justice Roberts that I think summed it up well. He said, talking about the debates over these treatments, quote, "The voices in these debates raise sincere concerns. The implications for all are profound. The Equal Protection Clause does not resolve these disagreements, nor does it afford us, the Supreme Court, a license to decide them as we see best," close quote. Translated, back to your question, Frank, translated what the 6 justices said, this Tennessee law banning these gender dysphoria treatments doesn't rise to the level of what the Supreme Court calls strict scrutiny of those laws. And therefore, if there was a rational basis for Tennessee to do what they did, which the court found there was, that's it. This is to be decided not by 9 people who wear black robes to work, but rather the voters of each of the 50 states.
So it's a busy time of year at the Supreme Court. Some of the other things that are, I'm not sure I'm using the right term, but are on the docket, so to speak, would include... Under submission, thank you. There's a case about the possibility of opting out of books on gender and sexuality for families, preventative health care coverage, age verification for online porn, and then the Louisiana voting map, and then, of course, birthright citizenship, which has been a hot topic for sure. Any of those that you think we might see a surprise or something that is going to end up creating a change in our country?
2 pieces to that question. Let me take it apart quickly. As to the surprise, yes, I think there will be a big surprise among most of the American people on this birthright citizenship. Quickly, President Trump, early on in his administration, signed an executive order purporting to cancel birthright citizenship under the same 14th Amendment we just talked about. Mm-hmm. It is up before the Supreme Court. It's under submission. I think a lot of people expect that we will get the answer. The answer to, can President Trump cancel birthright citizenship? I think it is highly unlikely that we will. Rather, what we will get the answer to is whether federal district court judges, single, can issue what are known as universal injunctions. Mm-hmm. So that is a very important question, but it will be a disappointment, I think, to a lot of people that we did not get the substantive answer. I guess the other one on this, Texas has passed a statute that prohibits accessing pornographic sites without age verification. So if what we read is true, that there's massive utilization of these sites, that could have a seismic effect on the porn site industry, if that's a phrase. This decision, Jill, based on coming out of the Texas case, could be seismic.
Isn't that wouldn't that be an 80-20 issue? I know some kids underage are going to watch it no matter what, but if you poll most Americans, wouldn't they want it to prohibit kids from having an opportunity to get pornography easily?
Oh, I think you probably understate the 80-20. It may be 95 to 5. But
And I don't want to know those 5 people.
yeah, but the
Who would be like for it?
well, but I
The
think,
industry.
Yeah,
Excellent
well, that's
point.
it. The bankers of the industry. But I think, Frank, that as we have seen in so many of these issues, is the 95 would say, "You betcha, I want requirement of age verification," but then when it is explained to them the constitutional give up that age verification would mean to them in another context, it's suddenly, oh, I need to think about my position more.
I know we just have a minute or so left, but this a good question from one of our listeners saying, okay, you talk about things being resolved at the ballot box. Abortion was resolved at the ballot box in Missouri, but it hasn't turned out that way.
Well, it was resolved at the ballot box, but again, the point is that in Roe v. Wade in 1973, the Supreme Court said the 14th Amendment protects a woman's liberty interest to choose whether to terminate her pregnancy. We lived under that until a couple of years ago, and the Supreme Court in the Dobbs decision said, no, that right is not embedded in the 14th Amendment. It's up to the citizens of each state. So the citizens of Missouri, through their legislators and through the ballot box, have spoken, and I think it's upwards of 40 plus states have spoken. Some of our listeners may agree with what has been put into law. Some may disagree. There's continuing litigation. But from a constitutional standpoint, this is what Dobbs has wrought, having the issues decided at the ballot box as opposed to, as Chief Justice Roberts said yesterday, quote, to decide them as we, Supreme Court justices, see best, close quote.
20 seconds left. Yeah. You can make $1,000 if you get this correct. The candidates in 2028 from each party. We're not going to hold you to it, but you make $1,000 if you win this, if you make it correct.
I'm going to go with Rahm Emanuel.
Ooh, I like that.
I'm going to go with Rahm Emanuel. If you let me go to the place window after that win bet, I'll go with Gavin Newsom.
Okay, and then on the Republican side?
The Republican side, I think you're going to have to go to the win window with the vice president, with J.D. Vance. Okay. He will have the platform from which to jump in.
Because you're so interesting, we've violated every rule of this radio station because this segment went so long. We're probably going to get fired, but we're going down with a blaze of glory because you make great radio. Thank you so much, sir.
Frank and Joe, great to be with you. Stay safe.
Thank you so much, Greg. And also, anytime we hear from listeners saying they're thanking us for being able to put them with resources that have made their life easier, Ryan Raphael tends to be at the top of the list. And that's because the Medicare man knows Medicare like nobody else. He's a specialist in this particular area of insurance, and it's an area of insurance that is confounding, confusing, frustrating, and sometimes ends up putting people in difficult both financial and medical situations because it can be overwhelming, and you can accidentally sign up for a plan that doesn't let you stay with your provider or that doesn't have the right prescription coverage for you, and that is stressful, which is not good for any of our health. So I recommend that on the front end, if you're turning 65, going on Medicare, retirement is approaching, or that is true for anybody in your life, do yourself a favor, reach out to Ryan. He'll give you his cell phone number because it's important for him that you're able to get the answers you need. 314-368-6808 is how you call him, or visit him at MedicareManSTL.com.
Welcome back. Frank and Jill Show. Coming up at 11, we're going to find out the story about the Daily Bread. Great restaurant in Des Peres. Patrick Judd in studio. One quick text. Love listening to Mr. Willard and his explanations of subjects. I feel much smarter after his segments. We do also.
Yep, he's great. Let him go as long as you can from the 314. Such great information. We have another great hour of the Frank and Jill Show coming up next. Of course, legendary basketball player Steve Stepanovich is going to be joining us to talk about what his time on the Pacers was like and what it feels like to maybe see them win the NBA championship. We'll see how that all goes. Don't go away. We're back right after the news.
"78 degrees at 11:03 with KTRS News. I'm Steve Potter. Ahead of the July 4th holiday, the legal sale of fireworks in Missouri begins tomorrow and runs through July 10th. The Missouri Division of Fire Safety has issued more than 1,100 permits to seasonal fireworks retailers. Information about fireworks safety can be found on the Missouri Department of Public Safety website. Tomorrow, the St. Louis License Collector's Office will host its Juneteenth City Business Open House. to support small businesses affected by last month's tornado. A number of local businesses will be there selling their merchandise and offering discounts. The open house runs from 10 a.m. until 2 o'clock at the City Hall Rotunda. And a community development nonprofit is working to get checks to over 1,000 North St. Louis residents whose homes were severely damaged by the storms. Invest STL has already raised more than $2 million of a $4 million goal. And the clock is ticking away for St. Louis County seniors to apply for the Senior County Property Tax Freeze program.
St. Louis County is urging eligible residents to apply online for the Senior Property Tax Freeze program ahead of the June 30th deadline, as in-person appointment slots are now full through the end of the month. Since launching the application portal last October, the county has received more than 60,000 applications. To further support residents, special Saturday hours were introduced this month, dedicated solely to accepting new applications. During the first event, more than 200 people waited in line to apply. To avoid the long lines, you can apply online at stlouiscountymode.gov. Jill Enders, KTRS News.
A suspect is in custody in connection with a deadly shooting in Ferguson. Police say 2 men were involved in a physical altercation yesterday morning at the Home Depot on New Hulls Ferry. Police say the suspect fled the scene but was later arrested in Spanish Lake. Great Rivers Greenway has a new leader. The organization has selected Mark Perkins as its CEO. The city administrator for Creve Coeur since 1999, Perkins will join the Great Rivers Greenway team on August the 4th. Missouri's state treasurer is reminding Missourians that they may have unclaimed money waiting for them.
1 in 10 Missourians have unclaimed property, and it all adds up to more than $1.5 billion. This money can come from uncollected insurance policy proceeds, government refunds, utility deposits, and money from prior jobs. According to Missouri State Treasurer Vivek Malik, the state has more than 175,000 residents who have unclaimed property worth $50 or more. Last year, the office was able to return more than $56 million to its rightful owners. To see if you have unclaimed money in Missouri, go to treasurer.mo.gov/unclaimed property. Sobey Bay, KTRS News.
The markets are closed today due to the Juneteenth holiday. This KTRS Business Minute brought to you by Walter Knoll Florist, the place for all your floral needs. You can place your order anytime at WKF.com. The Better Business Bureau is offering tips about scams involving moving companies who bump up prices at the last minute. The agency took nearly 7,000 complaints about moving companies last year. In sports, Mizzou basketball announced their non-conference schedule for the upcoming season. Dennis Gates' former team, Cleveland State, is among the mid-major teams paying a visit to Columbia. In that game, Gates will go up against his former assistant coach, Rob Summers. And after last night's rainout, the Cardinals and White Sox play a doubleheader this afternoon. Our forecast calls for higher temperatures this weekend. Sunny today, an afternoon high near 87, mostly clear tonight with an overnight low of 68. Temperatures rise tomorrow. Look for a high of 93, then 97 the high for Saturday and Sunday. Right now it's 7 minutes past 11 o'clock. We have sunshine, 78 degrees at the Gold Tower at Westport. Steve Potter, KTRS News, the talk of St. Louis.
All right, it's one of the great places to go in St. Louis. It's the Daily Bread, I believe, De Pere, correct?
Correct,
Yeah,
yes.
off Manchester. Come a little closer to the mic. Yes. And we're excited because we have the owner and operator in-house as we speak. Jill, I know you are a big fan.
I am. Patrick Judd, thank you so much for being with us here today because I've been a big fan of Daily Bread, not only because you have incredibly delicious food, baked goods, sandwiches, but it's a great gathering place. I was part of a group of moms years ago that a lot of us were either working part-time or some stay-at-home moms raising kids, and that we had a weekly scheduled meeting where we would bring our kids down and our babies and put them in the chairs and sit there. And it was a crazy week and we were feeling overwhelmed and frustrated. It was just kind of a nice little island in the storm for us during that time. And so I have such good memories. And I know that's part of what you guys have created is a place where people can gather.
Yeah, well, thank you for saying that, because our motto is to be the best part of your day.
Wow.
And so whether you're working and you just need a break and you want to come and just get a refreshment, or if you are wanting to meet up with your mom or sister or best friend, have a cup of coffee, that's what we're all about.
It's almost like a ministry, you know? And you have that one waitress who's been there for a long time that's very chatty, that everybody likes.
Yes. Yes.
What?
Well, we have a girl named Katie that's been with us for a while. Special needs. She's
Yes,
great. We've
that's-
had her for. She's not in the front as much anymore. She helps us do other little tasks. But Katie is actually there right now. She's working today.
So how does the son of a vinyl salesman end up in this crazy industry called the restaurant business?
I always had, I guess, something in my blood that I always wanted to have my own business, entrepreneurship, which is kind of interesting because our family crest is 3 boar's heads, which represents hospitality. So I guess I was meant to be in this business. But I just love bringing people together, and maybe had a few parties when I was in high school that I probably shouldn't have. But, I just had a great time bringing people together, and I just always loved that aspect. I also always loved creating items that people enjoy. So we can create new cookies or whatever, and we can see a reaction and see how much people enjoy those things. So I get a kick out of that.
I love, Frank tends to like people best when they've gone to DeSmet to high school like you did, and went to college at UMSL like you did, because those are both paths that he
Yes.
took as well. But I love the story you tell.
And Our Lady of the Pillar, by the way.
And Our Lady of the Pillar, too. That has been published in various places around the internet, that you went to college in UMSL, and then you had the chance to start this business, and right before you graduated you started the business, and then years later you said, I'm going to go back and finish that degree. Even though I have 6 kids and a successful business and a few other things on my plate, I want to make that happen.
Well, it was an open loop I wanted to close, and my oldest daughter, Molly, she was graduating, and my goal was to graduate from college before she graduated, and our graduation day was the same day. So I didn't get to walk my graduation day, but I got to go to hers, and we just had a great time celebrating together.
How many hours did you need? How long did it take?
It was, a quick funny story is I thought I had 3 classes that I had to take, and I realized after calling Merrimack that I had, that I could take one of the classes there, and they said, "Oh, you already took that class." And I said, "I did." And they said, "Yeah." And I go, "What did I get?" And they said, "Well, you got a B minus." I'm like, "Oh, great!" So that knocked 3 classes that I needed down to 2. So I ended up taking the other 2 at UMSL.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's get to the food. Is this on TV? I don't know if I can get it on TV, but this sandwich just kind of sums you up. It is on a spectacular bagel, really great bacon, and an egg sandwich, and it is just so good. You guys are not skimping on the bacon, and really great bacon there. Tell me where it's from and stuff.
We get it from our supplier, Kuna Food Service. It's real high quality bacon, and that's one of the many things, but one of the things that people rave about all the time is our bacon. And we do sell a lot of egg sandwiches. It's our number one seller.
How good has Kuna been for you?
Kuna's awesome. I mean, I have my rep I've been with for a long time. He takes really good care of me, Mike Wachner. Shout out to Mike Wachner. Does a great job. Kuna is a family business, also a St. Louis family business, the Bippins. And they're actually customers of ours. I think they live not too far from the store, so they come in. And they've always taken good care of us. They always have my back.
So you have had, you've expanded the store back in, 2022 to make
Yes.
it a little bit bigger, but one location, is that because you and your wife, Carrie, have 6 kids and you had a whole nother job to deal with, or is it just because you have exactly what you want in that location and you haven't seen the need to expand out or franchise?
It's a little of both. It's work-life balance. But also, when we redid the store, I had a list of all the things I wanted to fix that was wrong with the first store. And when we redid it all, we fixed all those issues. And we just, I guess the thing is, it's a very complicated model. We bake everything in-house from scratch. We make all of our own soups. We roast our own meats. We smoke our own chicken and fish. So we do a lot under that roof. So we're kind of like a manufacturing plant and a restaurant all in one place.
One of your signature sandwiches, and I had it the other day, the bee sting
Yes.
chicken. Tell me about that. It's just outrageous.
It's a chicken sandwich with caramelized onions, mozzarella cheese, and it has like this special caramel glazed, honey glaze, caramelized glaze that we put the chicken on, and then we put it on a ciabatta bread that's toasted with a little lettuce, tomato on the side. It's fantastic.
It really is. I don't think I've ever come in to eat. Often I get the egg sandwiches you mentioned earlier without taking a lot home with me as well. It's like, I think I need some bread, and I also need some cookies, and I'm going to a friend's house. I should take a pie over with me. Is that a fairly decent part of your business as well as the take-home bakery?
Well, if you walk in the store, you recognize the fact that there's a big wall there with a bunch of breads and nuts and candies and things, and that's our gift wall. My wife actually is a big part of that. Carrie, my wife Carrie, does a lot of the nuts and things and keeps that wall looking great.
Enticing.
So,
it's very enticing. Tell
and
her
that's
she's
the
doing
whole
a good
idea.
job.
It was a gift. It's for gifting. Is that a lot of times people buy things from that wall, from not just to take home from themselves, but as a gift to a new neighbor, or someone just had a baby, or
going over to somebody's
whatever.
house for dinner.
Exactly.
Patrick Judd is with us. The name of the restaurant, Daily Bread, off Manchester Road in De Pere. What sells more, the sandwiches or the pastries? Because, I mean, what you have there is just crazy good, too.
Yes.
Is it 50-50?
It's we have a real nice blend. I would say it's maybe a little more on the sandwich side, but we sell a lot of pastries.
And what's number one, or top 2 or 3 selling pastries?
On the cookie side, it's definitely our mountain cookie is our most popular cookie. Oatmeal, raisins, nuts, chocolate chips, and coconut. We sell a lot of those, and both. I have some in that bag there for you, so if you want to nosh on that later, you're welcome to it. It's really kind of across the board. I mean, on the pastry side, we added all the new pastries, the cheesecakes and the cannolis and everything, and those have really taken off for us.
I want to give a shout out on the Summer Bistro salad, which I think just started the Summer Bistro menu. The salad is so good with the fresh berries on it. Your iced tea, I don't know what you guys do, but it's very good. Fresh brewed iced tea.
Well, we get it from an importer. People ask us all the time where our iced tea comes from. We get it from an importer, and we brew it strong. So it's good.
Yeah, and I want to alert all people that are running offices that have to get lunches. One of your big things is carry out. And do you guys deliver?
We use a courier service, so we do a lot of catering, like box lunches, and as you can see, I brought a tray in, trays of sandwiches, things like that. So we do a lot of catering all over St. Louis. And we use couriers.
And it isn't soup season, but you always have good soup as well. How long do you see yourself continuing to do this? I know you just got a new a job promotion. You became a grandpa.
Yes, I did.
Very recently.
Thank you.
Do you see yourself sticking around in the restaurant biz forever?
I really enjoy it. It's not only it keeps my I love business. It keeps me stimulated on the business side, but also it's almost like a party every day because I see people. It's very social. I enjoy that, and I don't know. I really don't have an end date in mind. I think that my kids love the fact that we are, even though they're not a part of it right now, they love the fact that we own this business. And when they come in town, they just
and they
love
get
to
free
come.
food.
And that, but also they just love being a part of it. And I can see my grandkids, I'm assuming I'll have many, that they can come and play around in the bakery.
Hedging your bets. Having 6 kids is a good way to ensure you're going to have a lot of grandkids.
But I think Jill summed it up, her initial point. It's more than a restaurant. It's kind of a gathering place.
It is.
I bet you have people that come in and have Bible studies in the morning, too.
We have people that come in with we have a group of men that are in the store every single morning solving the world's problems. And then we have other groups that come maybe every Tuesday morning, and they have maybe a Bible study or book club, whatever it is. We have literally people that come in every single day.
All right, I just want to double check this. Since you went to Pillar and to Smet, we've probably been yelled at, slapped, detention. by the same people. Sister Julian, maybe? She
Yeah,
probably
so
got you
yeah, I
once or
remember.
twice.
I remember Sister Julian.
Sister Francesca.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Sister Eileen. I don't know if she was.
Sister, oh boy,
She was a
tough.
toughie. She was
Oh,
a
my
she was
gosh.
a Nebraska Cornhuskers fan. If you
Yes!
remember, she'd bring that up all the time.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And then at DeSmet, you probably were jugged, Mr. Judd, at least
Yeah.
once by Father Durso.
Maybe. I got in big trouble because when the Cardinals went to '82 World Series, we slept out at Busch Stadium because that's how you got tickets
Yeah,
then. You'd have to
I had to
camp
do that.
out to get the tickets.
But all right-thinking Americans would do.
So yeah, so we were all late for class, and so we all got in trouble for doing that. But yeah, I've had a couple jugs. We used
Couple
to go
things-
play, outside. They'd have us take out the trash, but we'd actually go outside and play ultimate frisbee.
yeah.
A couple of things from the text line before we
Yes.
let you go, Patrick. One is a question: is Daily Bread dog friendly?
Outside, yes.
Okay, absolutely. And you have you can sit 60 people out there,
Yes,
so lots of
yes,
space out there
yes.
as well.
Uh-huh.
And then somebody else pointing out from the 314, whenever someone is in the hospital, I always take one of your cookie trays to the nurses.
That's amazing. That's
great.
Uh-huh.
I love that. That's a great
Yeah.
suggestion.
All right, Patrick, we really appreciate you coming in.
Well,
we
we appreciate-
recommend everybody going to the Daily Bread. You will not be disappointed. The sandwiches, the pastries, everything is outstanding.
Another-
And thanks to Kuna for making the Daily Bread what it is and for being a sponsor of this segment.
Yeah, excuse me. Another recommendation that we make is our friends at Altair Travel and Cruises. One of the things you'll notice if you hear Altair on the McGraw Show, whether it's Angie Markaway or Haley Lux, who've been in the family business because their grandma Pat was of course the matriarch of Altair Travel and Cruises, is we hear from a lot of listeners, they seem to love what they do, just like Patrick really loves what he does at Daily Bread. We know that's true at Altair Travel and Cruises too. There's none of this, okay, yeah, we'll take care of you, or we'll deal with this situation. There is enthusiasm. There is incredible history of understanding all of the challenges that can come up in the travel business. There is just a lot of love for what they do, and it comes out in every single one of their interactions with customers, just like you and like me. And that's one of the things I'm always looking for in a business is I want to deal with somebody that leaves our transaction with me feeling better than I did when I started. And I guarantee you're going to get that when you reach out to Altair Travel and Cruises to plan your next dream trip, whether it's a group trip for a family reunion with a group of friends. You've been wanting to do that for years and you finally have the time and the disposable income to do it, or whether it's just a private getaway for you where you want to relax and recharge your batteries. 314-968 is the number to call. Reach out, altairtravel.com. That's Altair Travel and Cruises. Welcome back, everybody. Time 11:25, second hour of the Frank and Jill show. Jill Farmer, Frank Cusimano. Okay, thank you for doing your due diligence and doing some research on the food for us today. Daily Bread, give us your assessment of the sandwich you're eating
Well, the
right
sandwich
now.
is just really good. It's a roast beef, it's a cheese, pickles, onions, jalapenos, and then this lovely mayonnaise that's got a little bite to it.
It's kind of an aioli
Yeah.
sauce, right?
It's sensational.
Is it? Okay, good.
So-
I'll have to give it a try. I'm not as good at doing two things at once as you are, so I have to wait until a little bit.
I got to shoot at 12:45, so I have no time to eat. So
Good. I'm glad you're enjoying it, and I think it's a good idea to remind everybody. Good place to go for lunch today, if you haven't gotten it yet, is go over and see our friend Patrick at the Daily Bread. Song of the day today. One of the listeners challenged us early this week after we played Mamas and the Papas Monday to try to find a song of the day for every day of the week. And Connor said that's going to get hard when we get down to Wednesday and Thursday. He was right about that, but I actually ended up really liking today's selection, which is Thursday Night by the Pet Shop Boys.
oh.
Kind of a catchy little tune. And you're in
I
a good mood
perked
on
up.
Thursdays.
I perked up when you said Pet Shop Boys because one of their songs, I believe it's called "It's a Sin."
Yep.
It's got one of the best instrumental. Used to use it on sports features all the time. Pet Shop Boys did some good work.
Yeah, that was really a fun era of music, and they apparently still do really well on tour. I was kind of looking up a little bit of factoids about them, and this song was a release that came out in the, I believe, mid 2000s that did a little bit did pretty well for them. So they've been around. I think they're originally from London, aren't they, Connor?
I don't know anything about the Pet Shop Boys.
Yeah.
I'd have to quick search, but I was looking up Frank's song.
See if we can do that on
Good instrumental.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll play that coming back.
Yeah, they're described as a British synth pop duo. They formed back in the 80s and had their were playing in London clubs through the early and mid 80s, but they got a lot more popular in the late 80s. That's when they kind of took off with, as you said, their big hit "It's a Sin," and their actually album is, I think, where all the magic happened for them, if we're to believe the internet here. Quote of the day today is something that I ran across on social media. Frank, I think you're going to appreciate it.
Okay.
It's somebody portraying a scene if a doctor was diagnosing what was going on with your golf game.
Oh,
I think I could be described as having stage 4 LT in a variety of aspects,
I'm gonna use that.
including life and radio. but
stage
yeah.
3 LT. Okay, that's good. That will be used a lot on the course this weekend.
Obviously, this is somebody who loves golf a lot, but the fact that he was able to portray what it's like when you go into the doctor's office to get bad news, but to translate it to the golf game, I thought it was pretty darn clever. Definitely put a smile on my face, for sure.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, Steve Stepanovich. unique skill set of putting the ball on the floor and passing it and shooting it. And that's one of the reasons you became an All-American, the emphasis on skill development. You shot it unlike most 7-footers. And I'm wondering, like, if you were playing today, I'm not saying you'd be as good as Dirk Nowitzki, but you would probably be shooting threes because you shot 17-footers. It's interesting how the game has evolved now, all over the world.
No, it has changed quite a bit, Frank. You're totally correct. The big guys, you don't see a big man down low much anymore. And when I played, you wanted to build your team around your center, your big guy, and that evolved into now. And it's been quite a while since it's evolved into we need a point guard. We need a point guard. And we build our team around the point guard. Now, your big men tend to be more, like you mentioned, outside shooters. So they can post up down low, but it's not their emphasis like it was when I was playing. When I get down to Indiana tonight, Indianapolis, I'm anxious to talk to Rick Smits. Rick Smits was drafted when I was with the Pacers because my natural position was more of a power forward, even a stretch power forward. And I got hurt and the plan didn't come together where Rick was a true center, 7'4", and I was then able to go out and play more of an outside big man position or power forward position. And unfortunately, that didn't happen because I hurt my left knee and had to retire a little premature from Indiana.
So you mentioned it a little bit earlier. Full disclosure, I'm an Iowa Hawkeye fan, so needless to say, I've been a Caitlin Clark fan for a long time. You had 5 daughters. You have 5 daughters, and some of them were pretty excellent athletes in their own right. So you've certainly spent a lot of time in a gym watching women's basketball and women's volleyball, I believe. So what do you think about the Caitlin Clark effect and the WNBA taking off over the last couple of years?
Yeah, I mean, it's been fun to watch. At Iowa, it was even more fun in some ways because they made for a couple of years there was just some epic matchups and runs that Caitlin Clark was involved in, as we all know. But the WNBA and having girls and coaching girls basketball, and I coached Frank's daughter when she was in high school with my daughters as well, and I like it. I mean, a lot of people do. What's his name? The Wizard of UCLA. The Wizard
John
of
Wooden.
John Wooden. He always said that, hey, I prefer watching girls basketball over boys because girls have to be fundamentally sound. They don't get away with just pure athleticism like boys do. But the few are fun to watch. And I tell you what, I'm going to. I'll be going to some games. They're run by the same people, of course, in the organization. The Pacers run the Fever as well, and so people don't want to go to Indiana Pacer games in my world. They want to go to Fever games, so I'm going to have to run up there this summer.
You had a good bedside manner as a coach, and I should say Steve took a Westminster team that had never been there to the Final Four. Well, what was your philosophy like in dealing with the girls you coached?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I just, girls are a little bit different than boys, and I've always thought it would be more challenging to coach boys. But girls, they'll listen, and they'll, you just keep things simple, and the girls are much easier to coach, I would think, than the boys because they want to please you. They'll do what they're told to do, and it comes down to coaching is very simple. There'd be some games where I'd call a timeout and say, girls, hit some shots. Make me look like a good coach. I mean, come on, we got to make some shots here. So, so we had some good teams, and you just try to, not be too intense, but you want a balance. You want a good balance between, hey, this is where we're going to do it, no nonsense approach, but yet you have to make it fun for the girls and very social as well.
You're also obviously very, very well known in the St. Louis area for your basketball career. You and your beautiful wife, Terry, have also ascended to the role of grandparent relatively recently. What else are you doing these days for fun?
Yeah, we have 6 grandkids. 2 of my daughters are pregnant as well currently. They're all in St. Louis right now, by the way. It's kind of a crazy time. My wife and I take them for a week, and we have like what we call a camp. So all the grandkids are here. We do all these activities. So I just live in St. Louis, and we love the golden years. We have 6 kids. Oldest is 20, almost 20. The youngest, is almost 21. So the grandkids are great. Our golden years. So we live in Clayton, and just love being empty nesters basically, and it's a great stage of life to be in. Frank's there as well. He knows it well. I'm sure he would agree.
Yeah. Before we let you go, we were just playing the Pet Shop Boys, the song "It's a Song." It's a sin, and there's one little bit of lyrics where it goes, "When I look back upon my life," and I want you to look back upon your life. Are there ever times where you think, "Gosh, I don't know why God chose me, but he gave me this great size. He gave me this skill. He made me one of the most famous basketball players in the state of Missouri history," and how blessed you feel when you look back across your life?
Frank, it's really a good attitude to have, to be very positive when you look back, and very thankful. And I am thankful to God, of course, for all the blessings in my life, and I have so many. But I'll have a tendency to look back in my sporting career with some regrets. Again, in high school, we won. In college, I was with Norm Stewart a couple of years ago. I said, Norm, we kind of let you down. We didn't get to the Final Four, and we were good enough a couple of years. And he chastised me for saying that. But I look back with some regrets, and we didn't get to the Final Four in college. And then when I got to the pros, I played 5 years and hurt my left knee, and had a couple of years where I was trying to get back. But I wish I could have played at least 10 and played more and better. But you're right, Frank. That's kind of you don't want to spiral down into regrets. You want to be look at things in a more thankful way, more gratitude, and a more positive. But I have a blessed life. My goodness, I just thank the good Lord every day for the life that I have right now. I'm healthy and have all these kids and grandkids, and life is good. I'm very thankful.
You did it, young man. Good to hear your voice. Enjoy the game tonight. We'll talk soon.
Yeah, thanks, Frank. Okay, bye, guys.
Before we go to break, I need to hear your favorite moment playing basketball with Steve Stipanovich.
Well, 2 quick moments is one time we were in Jeff City. I think the winning streak was like 50. And Jeff City, obviously close to Mizzou, packed house. Every time we played, the gym was sold out at 6 o'clock for a 7 o'clock game. Basically because we had a 7-foot blonde All-American and we didn't lose games. We were in Jeff City, and it was the only time he ever yelled at me in the first half. Give me the ball. I didn't pass him the ball. And so he had 6 points at halftime. And all these people from Mizzou were there wearing I Love Steepo buttons. And Steve then scored 39 in the second half and finished with 45. So that night we combined for 55. He had 45, I had 10. One other quick little story. And I'm telling you, and I'm not lying, I could pass a lie detector right now. One of the 20 most gratifying days of my life was when Steve played in the Meadowlands his senior year against Ralph Sampson. It was Mizzou against Virginia. And I was playing for UMSL at the time, and all the UMSL players would always give me a hard time if Steve didn't play well. So they're playing this national TV game. And Joe, back then, when college basketball teams played on national TV, it was rare. It was like one game a weekend. So everybody watched on CBS. So it was the great matchup between Steve Stipanovich, the 7-footer, against Ralph Sampson, who walked on water, God with a small G, 7'4", first pick in the draft. And that day, Steve had 27 points and killed Sampson. Mizzou lost the game, but I can almost get emotional watching it. So the next day, I'm interning at Channel 5, and Jay Randolph sends me to St. Louis U High because Norm Stewart's in town, his coach, recruiting. And I asked Norm this question, and I said, what about the game? And he said, I just assume let Virginia win for Steve to have a game like that on national TV. And I thought, God, this is a coach that loves his player. I'll never forget that whole 2-day span. It was awesome.
That is perfection. We'll be right back after this. Good story. back, everybody. Premier Heating and Cooling, oldest and most experienced American Standard customer care dealer. 96 degrees expected over the weekend. If your air conditioner is acting like it may or may not make it through this incredible heat, just as a safety precaution, maybe write down the name Premier Heating and Cooling. Or if something goes awry this weekend, that's the place where you're going to want to call. They have at your service. Their technicians are 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in emergency situations. They want to make sure they take care of you. And of course, it doesn't matter if you have an American Standard unit or not. They have some of the best trained technicians in the entire business. Everybody, as a matter of fact, has completed a rigorous 5-year training program. They participate in continuing education and training because they always want to make sure they're on top of what is happening in the ever more technologically evolving world of heating and cooling systems. I use them. They've helped me with a lot of situations, including this week, giving me some brand spanking new, fancy, remote controlled thermostats in the house. I can look right now and tell you what temperature all the different zones in my house are, whether they're participating in econ programs to be able to save me money when I'm not at home. It's a great upgrade in my house, and I hope it translates into some lower utility bills. It could for you as well. PremierHeatingCooling.net, 636-916-1122. That's Premier Heating and Cooling. If you call them, tell them that I sent you. Fun show today. Man, this went fast, didn't it?
How do you feel when you see those temperatures, 92 through like 98, Friday, Saturday, Sunday? Maybe even today, too.
I'm a person that prefers cold to extreme heat, so it starts to make me feel a little drained, drippy, and just a little bit exhausted. But you get used to it. You know, we don't really have our summer temperature chops yet. Do you like the hot weather?
Yes. I just can't wait to be walking in that sweltering heat and just realizing that after I play, I'll be able to eat anything I want. I love hot.
You're not going to
hot.
play around when it's like 100 degrees.
Oh, in a heartbeat.
Come on.
Yes, absolutely.
You're not going to walk.
Absolutely.
You're going to walk 18 holes when it's 100 degrees and
Brooke and I will be
humid as
doing
heck.
that this weekend for sure.
Okay.
Now, Brooke is 7 months pregnant.
Brooke is 7
so
months
she might need to
pregnant.
take a
Should
little
she
bit of make sure that she's properly hydrated if you make that choice for sure. But yeah, you guys are tough and you can definitely handle that heat. But I think it's kind of a natural preset, right? I prefer a little bit colder temperatures, but I have a daughter who, I mean, she's never too hot and she's often too cold. Connor, you prefer to be...
I would say cold. I just, these extreme hot temperatures, I've always said, it feels like you can't do anything outside, so what's the point of it being hot? You're going to be inside anyway.
I wonder if it's an ancestry thing, right? Your ancestors came from Sicily, which is a lovely island that has warmer temperatures. Ours came from Northern European ancestry. And
don't you love the feeling that if you like do some kind of workout, whether it's a walk or a run, or you're playing golf and you're walking, and you realize you're drenched, it kind of.
I absolutely do not mind getting really sweaty, and I do. If anybody ever sees me when I work out, I'm disgustingly sweaty, and I do not mind that at all. It's just when I'm trying to do other things that aren't working out, and when I'm just dripping with sweat all the time, doing the stuff that I would normally not be totally.
Did you say disgustingly sweaty?
Yes, I mean, like you can wring out my shirt sweaty all the time.
You know who was disgustingly sweaty was our previous guest, Steve Stepanovich. There were puddles. I mean, it was unbelievable. He'd get back in the locker room, there'd just be puddles that he'd sit down. It was gross.
Yeah, my friend, and who's a very athletic person, older than me, we did boot camp together for years in early mornings at 6 a.m. in Clayton. And we do this thing where you would do sit-ups, and the other person would be standing on ahead of you, and you hold on to the person's ankles to do sit-ups. And she always hated to stand up when she had to hold on my ankles because they were so sweaty and slippery, and I would drip sweat down onto her. She's like, I'm not going to have you do this anymore because it's grossing me out how much you're sweating. And
I think most people would agree with both of you that the hot weather.
There's hot weather. There's 85 or 90 degrees, and you can get to the shade and get a little bit of
what it's been is good.
Yes,
it's been great.
This is like the latest we've ever got to the 90s. I believe that's what.
Yeah,
Scott
and that's
saying.
what I worry about a little bit. I texted our friend Mark Maxwell because I just woke up this morning a little bit worried about our friends in North St. Louis who are in homes and camping out in homes that are not weatherproof. He said that some of the aid has been helping to get people into hotel rooms, but not everybody wants to take advantage of that because they want to stay there and keep an eye on their stuff.
Oh, so the city is paying for hotel rooms?
Well,
for...
the different aid organizations, those
Yeah,
have
that's
been made
great.
available to people
That's
should
awesome.
they take advantage of it, but not everybody is. Hey, we got a good show tomorrow. Howard Richards and Lynn Venhouse will be here.
Sounds good. We will take a short time out, a 22-hour break. Carney and Buck coming up next from Bishop's Post. All right, some barbecue shrimp, I think.